Welcome to X1T Gaming, and together we're going to revolutionize the game industry. So, I'm going to be working on prototype number 4, but just before we work on there, I want to show you what I did for my actual game. So, as you recall, I was trying to make it click and make the ball go this way or that way. And so, what I was doing is I finally kind of like got a code where I did all this object clicker, and I was able to get the ball to bounce up, but for the force it would only go right, or if I did like a negative force, then it would only go left. There was no going in the opposite direction of the mouse, and so I decided to think outside the box, and so I created a new code where now when I click on something, I will create a game object. And then I destroy it after zero point zero 0.01 seconds. And so in this, what you see is this is a game object right here, and you actually can't see it. I don't know why it creates like a lot, but whatever. So then I got it to work, and boom, now we got the ball to bounce. Yeah. So it's a little bit hard. I'm not that good at it. I noticed that if I change the scale of the game ball, if I scale it to about like to 2, oops, it disappeared on me. If I scale it to 2, it makes the game actually very easy to play. And so I'm actually able to, oops, I lost. I'm actually able to keep it up for a lot longer. So I might do this for like a level 1 game, just making it, yeah. Or I could make it bounce a little bit more bounciness. But that's pretty much what it is. It's making invisible game cubes or like game spheres. Got the game ball one, and I scale it so you can't see it on the X, you can't see it on the Y, but it's on the Z. So it's like this little point that you can't see every time you click, and I have it scaled so that it will or positioned as -5. I gotta change that a little bit, but as you see, what it's doing, it's actually reacting to another object instead of actually doing what I want it to do. But in turn, because we have the physics material here, and then we could change the bounciness of these things. Maybe I'll do average. Let's see what that does. Yeah. So I'm pretty happy with what I got, and that's pretty much what I wanted it to do. And so what I'm going to have for this game is you're going to go and bounce. Every time you bounce, you get like I'm going to put like a high score kind of thing, and we'll learn how to do that for the meantime. And then I could have different scenes. I could change the game ball up. Oops, this one was two. This one's a 1, and then I froze the position so it could only rotate on the Z axis. And now we got ourselves a football. Yeah, which that's pretty cool. I could unfreeze these, and now it's just freeze the Z position. Yeah, I could do however I want. It's pretty cool how the physics works. Really great there. Creating this game object, I feel actually makes it an easier time to do that because I don't know how it would be like for like a football per se. Yeah, and maybe if we change it to 1.5, it looks a little bit better. And we can just stop the rotation on these ones. Yeah. So what I'm going to have, this is going to be a game over kind of thing. Maybe have a little bit of an explosion. Um, we'll see. Is it actually touching? Yeah, it's actually touching. But yeah, so that's what I'm working on. And so that's what they wanted you to work on for the meantime, for the thing. And so now we're on prototype number 4. So the lab was just to kind of get the game mechanics of your player settings to work. And now we're going on to prototype number 4. Apparently, they say that prototype number 4 is the hardest unit out of the whole things. So we're working with power ups, and we're also working up with changing the mechanics of the game. So how to explain it? So let's say like you have like level 1 where you just have one enemy, you defeat it, and then we're going to make it so that when level 2 happens, you got 2 enemies, and then you get 3, and then 4, and then as you progress throughout the levels, it just gets harder and harder and harder and harder. And then this way, we could actually like create 100 levels with just one code, rather than having to do all the 100 levels individually in different scenes, which is pretty cool. And I might take that aspect onto my other game. I'm thinking about the one that I'm having. Instead of doing advancing different levels, excuse me, instead of advancing different levels, I'm thinking about having like a high score, and then once you get to a certain point, you will unlock other stuff. Okay, so step 1 is to create the project and open, and then just want to run it to see the particle effects. So you have these particle effects underneath here, which that's pretty cool. Yeah, but that's it for step 1, and then step 2, you want to go and create a sphere. So we're going to go 3D object, a sphere, and they want us to scale it to 1.5 for all the axes. And then we want to add a rigid body to it. So add a rigid body, and then from the library, oh, we want to call this player. Okay, and then from the course library, under textures, we want to drag a texture onto the sphere. So what are these textures called? Prototype, texture. Okay, so I think they want us to use the black one or the checkered one just to drag onto the player. Let's do the black one because I think that's the player, and it's going to make him look a little bit different. And we want to reset the position. Yes, it's 0. Yeah, so that's good for that step. Next step, create a focal point for the camera. So we got to create a new game object and rename it focal point, an empty object. Okay, so create empty object, and this one is focal point. And then the position is 0, 0, 0. And make it a child of the camera. Okay, so we go child of the camera, focal point. Now create a new script folder and name it rotate camera script inside of it. So, do we have any scripts? We don't have any. Wait, do we have scripts in the force? No scripts here. So we want to make an extra folder, call it scripts, And then in this one, we want to create a new C# script. We're going to name it rotate camera, and we're just going to put it attach the rotate camera to the focal point. Boom. So now you got the focal point has the rotate camera. So that is done. Mark is complete, and then rotate the focal point by the user input. So now it's time to put some code. Okay, so create the code to rotate the camera based on rotation speed and horizontal input. Tweak the rotation speed value to get the speed you want. Okay, so right here, we want the public float, and they want to call it speed rotation. Oh, no, rotation speed. Rotation speed. So it's public, so we can do wherever. And then in the update method, we want to add a float. And we're going to put a horizontal input. Should I spell that right? Horizontal input equals input.getAxis horizontal. Horizontal. That, and then we go transform dot rotate vector 3 vector 3 dot up, and then now we do the horizontal input times the speed rotation, right? The times, yeah, rotation speed, and then times time dot delta time. And then with that, we close our code. So from what I'm assuming, boom. Okay, so we gotta make sure you do your spelling. So horizontal input. Oh, we gotta press play. So we press play. Okay, it's not working. Oh, let's put 1. Okay. I have a feeling that I'm supposed to put the focal input. So we put it on the camera. We child it. Okay, let's just quickly see if he gets this one working.
To use our input manager, and we're going to get the axis that we're going to use. So we'll use time, 50. So now we're actually multiplying by a value other than just always multiplying by 0, which gives you 0, which means no movement. So now when we press play, if we rotate, we can rotate to the right, we can rotate to the left.
So the camera, I probably didn't child it properly.
If we go to transform and we click on the gear icon, we can reset the position. So now our empty game object is exactly in the center of our scene. we're going to name this the focal point. So in this case, this game object will be the center point of our entire scene. It's especially useful that this is an empty game object because this is literally just going to be a position and a point that we rotate around. In order to control the camera, we can actually left-click on the main camera in our hierarchy, drag and drop it onto the focal point game object. So now the main camera is a child object of our focal point. And so, in fact, because the main camera is always tied to the location of our focal point by doing this,
Oh, okay.
if we rotate our focal point, for example,
Okay, so let's go back. Okay, I don't think we could go back anymore. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to make this. Okay, and then the focal point we want to have to rotate on the focal point. Put a speed of like 50. And now let's see what happens. There we go. There we go. That's what we wanted to get done. So I made the mistake of putting it backwards. So you want the main camera. So it says. Okay, so where does it say child in? I saw it here. So create an empty focal point or position it and make the camera a child object. So as you guys can see, I'm going to show you right now how my dyslexia worked. I thought that it says and make it the camera a child object, but you want to make the camera a child object. Dyslexia for the win. Wait, that doesn't make sense. Okay, so then we're going to add a forward force to the player. Okay, so we're going to create a new script for a player script. Okay, so create new script. It's going to call player controller. Oh, is it opening it up? Okay. Player controller, put this one onto the player. And now we want to add the vertical up and down. So I think, okay, that's interesting. So what I'm thinking that they're trying to say here is rigid body. Oops. Rigid body, player RB. And we got a public float. I'm going to call this speed equals 5F. Okay, so basically what I think they want for the player is you got your vertical stuff up and down. And then you're going to use the camera to turn it back and forth. Yeah, so up and down is going to move the player, and then left and right is going to move the ball. So it's going to look like the ball's probably moving all over the place with that. And so what we want is, rigid body is going to be player RB. So the RB is going to be get component of the rigid body I hope that's pretty self-explanatory. I feel like we've done that before. So we got our float, and we want our forward input to equal input dot get axis, right? Get axis. And then we're going to call this one the vertical. Vertical, and then we want to player RB dot add force, and we're going to do a vector 3 speed and order. Okay, so it's going to cause a force onto it. Vector 3 dot forward, and then we're going to go time speed. I'm surprised he doesn't have times delta time as well. Okay, so then with this one, our ball should go up and down when we press play. So the ball goes up and down, and then we can rotate. Wow. The ball's pretty good. Okay. But yeah. So up and down motion. But the problem is it only goes up and down on the Z axis, on the Y axis. So I guess that's what we're going to have to figure out afterwards. Because see how I'm going up and down, I'm not moving anywhere. See, I'm still going up and down, but it's going just sideways. So we'll probably have to change that one. I think that's going to be the next move in direction of focal point. Okay, declare a new private game object focal point and initialize it. Start focal point equal game object final, and add force called replace vector 3 forward with focal point. Okay. So what they want us to do in the code is we want to add a private game object, and it's going to be called focal point. Okay, in the start we're going to focal point. Focal point is going to equal game object dot find, and we're going to call this the focal point. So I think we're going to have to do the tag for the focal point, because I don't think it's going to add here. And then we want to change, instead of vector 3 dot forward, we want to call it focal point dot transform. Okay, dot forward. So now instead of doing during the focal point, instead of having the focus on the vector 3, which is straight up just the y-axis, we're doing it on the focal point dot transform dot forward. So now as the camera turns, it should do the up and down. Interesting. Let's see if it works. So I'm going up and oops, I was looking at this screen. Okay, so go up and down, works. If we turn, oh, there we go. See, now it's going where we want it to go. Nice. And that's it for the first lesson. That's not too bad. That was, I think I don't know. I felt like that was pretty quick. I feel like I'm getting quicker at this. I don't need to watch the videos for all of them. Just showing what it's doing. I'm very interested in that focal point transform forward. If I did something similar to that for this game object right here, or if I do the clicker, instead of having the add force and then put all this stuff and then force mode impulse, What if I find a game object? Put it into start. Yeah, I might try that later for my other game. But yeah. But then I can't do the vertical. But then I don't need that because that's over here. Okay, might do some experimenting. How long is the other one? It says 1 hour. It looks like added enemy and physics material. Okay, so we will probably do the other one tomorrow. Doesn't look that hard. And then all of a sudden it looks like it's destroying a whole code and then starting a new one. Oh, okay, I see what's going on. Yeah, they have this. I thought it was to get rid of this whole code, but it was really just create your own private, like a private void kind of thing. Private. Yeah, you'll find out tomorrow. Yeah, no, I think I'm happy with that for today. We'll call it quits. That's the first one, and tomorrow we should finish the next one. I am getting a little bit faster at these. We don't have to constantly look at the video. I just go back and look at the video if I made a mistake, which obviously I did today, where my dyslexia kicked in and I thought I had to make the focal point the child, but really I had to make the main camera of the child. And so if the camera's that, it's focusing on the focal point. So then yeah, I think that's how it works. Yeah, but yeah, no, it's good stuff. I'm super excited. I might not look excited, but I'm like really excited that I figured out how to do that ball bounce. And I think that doing this thing, I might find a better way to do it, simply because this thing just showed me that I can change stuff. Yeah. And you know what? I might just keep it the way that I have. It's just simple. Okay, so that's it for today. And tomorrow we will do some more streaming for this unit. Tomorrow's 4.2. There's 4.3 and 4.4. So if I could get one a day, we'll be done before the end of the week. That'll be great. Maybe I'll do 2 tomorrow. No, I won't do 2 tomorrow. Unless I go really fast. But yeah, thanks for watching. And I'll see you tomorrow, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, just so that we can get our vision out there. You guys have a good one. I'll see